I'm going to go ahead and yield to my friend Carol Moss, who is going to introduce us to our speakers. So thank you, everybody.
Okay, thank you and good evening. Happy New Year to everybody. My name is Carol Moss. I'm your second vice chair. Still in LD 17, soon to be LD 13. We have a full line of speakers tonight, and if you've seen the agenda, you know the rank and order they're going in. So I'm not going to take a whole lot of time to give long introductions since we're short on time. But I do want to point out two things. One, for our speakers, Monroe Copeland is our Sergeant at Arms. He will keep you honest in your time. So Monroe, wave, let people know what frame they need to be watching. And he will give you at least a 1-minute warning to wrap up. And for the rest of participants, if you have a question for the speaker, if you would use the chat format here to put in your questions, because sometimes people have the same questions. We'll do our best to take 1 or 2 questions at the end for each speaker, and we will consolidate where we see consolidation needed. So without that, any other questions, I'm going to start with our first speaker tonight, and that is Dianne Post, who is here to speak to us about the Secular Coalition for Arizona. Dianne has first of all, happy birthday, Dianne, because she gave up her birthday tonight to be with us, so happy birthday. We appreciate that. And secondly, she has a vast knowledge of, human rights. She is an international human rights lawyer. She's also an author. You can go on and Google her and see the areas of expertise that she deals with. And has worked around the world. But right now, one of the causes that Dianne wanted to bring to us is something that's very important, which is the idea of separation of church and state. And so Dianne is going to speak to us for 5 minutes on that effort. And if you have questions, put it in the chat and we'll wrap up with a couple of questions for Dianne. Dianne Post, thank you.
Can I share my screen right now? I cannot. Or you're going to do it. All right. I'm Dianne Post. I'm a lawyer. I am the legal director of the Coalition Secular Communities, in the legal department. So this is who we are. If you don't know who we are, this is who we are. We've been around 10 years. We are lobbying and legal. We have a 501c4 arm that does the lobbying. We have a 501c3 arm that does the legal and also education. So we advocate for secular government. That is our main point. You can see there we have our board of directors and staff. And the 19 liaised organizations are groups around the state that are advocating for the same thing. They might be different groups like the Student Alliance, the Kingman Free Thinkers, Tucson Free Thinkers, the Dignity of Death and Dying, all those different kinds of things. Next slide. So this is what we do. We advocate for equal treatment for all faiths, everybody. I do a lot of letters, prisoner letters. It's primarily discrimination against Muslims. School issues, I will talk about that. We are now moving. We've hired Jeannie Castine. A lot of you know Jeannie Castine. She ran for the Maricopa County Department of Education. She was a teacher, and then she was a school board member for 8 years. So she's really in the education environment. So she's really moved us toward doing more in education. I've already done several letters where Carrie Lake and others have been violating the law by campaigning and gathering recall signatures on school property, which is against Arizona state law. We've stopped that. So there are lots of things going on. I was at a meeting last night where they're doing various things up north at the school board meetings. You all know about the Chandler mess. So we've stepped into that and we're doing a lot of that, as well as I have a volunteer who's done public records requests to all the schools. Most of them have answered except the rural ones where, we know there's a lot of problems. So we're working on that. So we do all of those things. Okay, next slide. These are our issues: science-based medicine and healthcare. If you remember a few years ago with Tori Roberg, she's been our lobbyist for years and years, and she's a wonderful person, and she's stepped back. So we're going to have a different lobbying arrangement come next week. So science-based medicine and healthcare. Remember when Diane Douglas was director of education, she tried to put not evolution, tried to put, what is it called now? Oh, intelligent design in the school curriculum. We got that stopped, et cetera. So public education, end of life choices. We work there on our board. We know we're not going to pass it this year, but you got to keep at it. No religious privilege. There was a terrible bill introduced last year. It's going to be introduced again this year. We're doing a lot of stuff in preparation for that, with educating people and making sure that the legislators know how terrible this is. Women's rights and healthcare, we all know about all the abortion cases, the anti-abortion cases, all kinds of things going on with that. And that's going to be a big issue this year. And religious expression is going. One thing we did this year was, last year we noted that they had a religious symbols exhibit down at the legislature on the yard during the Christmas season. So we put a non-religious symbol down there during the religious season for the week before Christmas. And it was reason is the reason for the season. And we should look at civil rights and human rights and the Constitution and that sort of thing, and base our judgments on that. And LGBTQ issues are another of our main issues, which we all know those issues that they're constantly trying to do about that. Next slide. All right, we base on two things. Obviously, the first, I'm from the legal department, so of course I focus on that. The Bill of Rights, obviously, we know about the free expression clause, we know about the do not establish in religion clause. So basically, we focus on that. But there's also the no religious test. And many people forget that. I mean, it's just sickening to me to see all these legislators, oh, I'm so religious, oh, let's pray, oh, let's this and that. And that's a complete violation of the Constitution, and people have forgotten about that. Next slide. So this is the things that we provide: action alerts, bill trackers, updates, rallies. Our secular day at the Capitol is going to be February 14, which is Pi Day, P-I Day. And so we're going to riff off of that. We have an annual award for the best legislators. We have a scorecard and prizes that we give to our secular awards winners. We have community secular awards winners. We also have candidate questionnaires. Secular studies, the only in the nation. Secular studies, the only one where we have secular studies in the legislature during the session in answer to their Bible study. And we are the only one in the nation with a legal department that actually takes legal cases. FFRF does, of course. Well, the others do, but they're all national organizations. We're the only state one that does that. Next slide. So this is the, all right, I mentioned that. What we do, demand letters, blah, blah. Next slide. This is what we want you to do: become a member. It doesn't cost you much, but it's very important to have more members. It's $30 a year, and you get special things. We're starting a new Constitution class, and constitutional lawyers are going to be teaching that, and that will be open only to members. So we want you to become a member. We want you to help us grow and to become more successful in what we do in maintaining that separation of church and state so that all people are treated equally. So please join us. Go to our website. Tons of stuff there to see. Thank you very much. Done.
Thank you, Dianne. Thank you very much. Does anybody have any questions for Dianne? We can take one or two. But this is important for us to understand that the Constitution did draw a line, between church and state, and that often gets crossed. And this is one way that we can make sure that we're upholding the constitutionality. Gary.
I wish people would understand that this is really in the interest of all people who are religious, because it protects them to worship in their own way instead of being some sort of crazy infringement. Whose prayer are you going to believe? So.
Yes, we do. And we also work with interfaith communities and other religious communities. Most of us are atheists, but that doesn't mean we don't work with people who are of different faiths, as long as they believe the constitutional separation. And please note how many of those people that participated in the coup on January 6th were carrying Christian nationalism flags. That's what they were there about. It was Christian nationalism, to impose their view of Christianity on the rest of us.
Any other questions? Please speak up, because I can't see everybody's screen. Tom, did you have a question?
Yes, I have a question.
Okay.
Are churches who allow candidates to campaign on their property allowed to keep their exemption from property taxes?
They are not supposed to. I mean, I file complaints all the time with the IRS. Well, I wouldn't say all the time, but I filed several complaints with the IRS against those churches who are allowing campaigning or doing campaigning on their property, including some who do voter registration drives, but only have Republican materials up. That's also a violation of the law. So I have filed several of those complaints. If you see that, take a picture, take a video, send it to me. I'll file a complaint.
Okay, what about, I'm talking about within the state, if you get a property tax exemption in a church.
Right. Yes, you do.
But if they allowed campaigning in the church, does that put their property tax exemption at risk in Arizona?
The Arizona, needless to say, has not done that yet. We have complained about it and they refuse to take any action, which shouldn't surprise anybody on this call. But the complaints get filed and they're at least there so that when they do it again, when we have a more friendly administration, perhaps they will take action.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank you all very much. If you have further questions, Diane, I don't know if you're going to be able to stay, but if anybody has another question, put it in the chat. I'm sure Diane will be happy to answer what she can. Yeah,
And
Diane.
I will put my email in the chat. And if you see these violations of church and state, like I was at a meeting last night, they talked about the things going on the school board, send them to me so we can file complaints about them.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. And yes, please do, because this is another way that unfortunately we lose our democracy. Okay. All right. Our next speaker is a lady that I've known for quite a while who will be running in the 2022 campaign for Corporation Commission. Lauren Kuby is right around the corner from us. She is a city council member from Tempe, 2 terms. And so she is taking on this challenge to get on the Corporation Commission. And I know many of us understand the power the Corporation Commission has, mostly through the Constitution, but depending on whose hand it's in, depends on whether we have fairness in a lot of our regulations of corporations and utilities. So with that, I'm going to introduce Lauren Kuby. And Lauren, you know Monroe's window, so you have 5 minutes. Again, put your questions in the chat.
Thank you so much, Carol. Thank you. And as I have to say, as someone profoundly and inconsolably secular, thank God for Dianne Post. She does so much for our state and for all of us. So yes, I'm running for Corporation Commission. My name is Lauren Kuby, serving out my 2nd term. I will finish my term in July in Tempe, where I've led on climate action and equal pay and earned sick days and free pre-K, a lot of programs that directly relate to actually the work that I will do in the commission, because we established a 100% renewable energy goal in Tempe. And I have to tell you, you can't get there if you don't have incentives from the top, meaning we need a 100% renewable energy goal for the state of Arizona. So I am also a sustainability scientist at ASU. I've been at ASU 25 years. And I work now at the Starta Center for Affordable Homes and the Family, where I help build capacity among cities to build affordable housing and to train and educate staff and how they can go through the maze and the puzzle of affordable housing financing and such. So that's my professional job. I'll be moving to part-time in January because being a full-time council member, running for statewide office, and also a full-time ASU employee, like my head is about to explode. So I'm running for Corporation Commission with Sandra Kennedy. We are Kennedy and Kuby for CorpCom. We are Kuby and Kennedy for CorpCom. We are all for one, one for all. We are sisters. We are running together as consumer advocates, as corporate watchdogs, and as solar champions. And you can trust that with Sandra Kennedy and I elected, and then with Anna Tovar all already serving, we will have a Democratic majority in the Corporation Commission the first time in decades, maybe like 40 years. And we will really, this isn't overly dramatic to say, we will be able to change Arizona's energy policy and move us to a clean energy economy. And thank you, Gary, for mentioning that study, because 74% of Arizonans want to see a clean energy economy. Climate is the great convener, but our politicians are not representing our wishes, our needs, our desires. And I see the clean energy economy as having such opportunity for Arizonans to have a more just transition away from coal, as we need to do with the Navajo Nation and other indigenous communities in our state. We have the opportunity to move away from coal and to establish more renewable energy-based economies, which build jobs. You can't outsource solar installations, right? So with Sandra, we are going to work to build community solar, to open solar up to people who are renting. You shouldn't have to own a home to take advantage of all the solar benefits. We need to have a just transition for the indigenous communities in our state and invest. We've extracted so much from the Navajo Nation, and it's about time that we gave back. And by we, I don't mean the ratepayers, I mean actually the utilities. So as you know, the Corporation Commission regulates the public utilities, be it water, gas, or electricity. But I say that, and Senator Kennedy will say that the commission's been called the Corruption Commission because the utilities have really impacted and handpicked the commissioners that regulate them. That's not right. I don't care if you're a Democrat, Republican, Independent. Nobody wants to see those that who are regulated be the ones choosing their commissioners. And so I'm running on a profoundly strong consumer advocacy mission with Sandra, and Sandra has the chops to prove it. She is, not only is she the first Black woman elected statewide west of Mississippi, she is a serious challenger to the utilities. I would say the utilities don't really like her.
1 minute remaining, please.
Thank you. That's a good thing. And so we are running together to really change the course of energy policy in Arizona. So I ran clean. I am running clean. I got all of my fives in November in record time. I'm only 210 signatures away from getting my 10,000 signatures to qualify. So I'm very excited. If you could, I'll put it in the chat. You can sign for me. You can sign for Sandra. Sandra still needs her 5, so please donate a $5 contribution to Sandra Kennedy so she and I can combine our resources and go across the state. I will be the Beto O'Rourke of Arizona. I will go to every state, every city, every town, every municipality, every indigenous community. And except unlike Beto, I'm going to win. Beto's going to win to be the governor of Texas, but I'm going to be out there. And I'm so eager to pass that threshold of filing, to be the first statewide candidate to file next week for Corporation Commission. And so I have so much passion and energy and commitment. An ASU sustainability scientist, I bring the expertise that we need in water and energy and utilities. And I'm so proud to be running alongside Sandra. And with that, I would love to take any questions you might have.
Thank you, Lauren. There is a question in the chat. There is a question in the chat, which I think you and or Randy Miller, who's also on the call, can answer. And the question was, again, can the Corporation Commission influence the rules for electing the SRP board? The person who wrote this said they are tired of paying rates without representation because most people don't understand the policies of SRP and the difference of what is regulated by the commission and how SRP falls into that.
I wish I could say that the ACC could regulate, but no. What the ACC can do is they're in charge of siting. And so you probably heard about the enormous expansion of the Coolidge power plant, $1 billion expansion. And the Corporation Commission has the power to stop that if they decide not to site it in Coolidge, in an area actually that is disproportionately Black. The town of Randolph is disproportionately affected. But unfortunately, ACC doesn't have much to do with SRP. But as ACC goes, so goes the nation, so goes the rest of the utilities. I think that SRP, they've long been the better angels. That's sort of switched a little bit. And I think if ACC adopted 100% renewable energy goal by 2040, 2035, 2030, we would see SRP kind of be forced in that role. But Randy could talk about how bad it is at SRP, and they haven't done redistricting, I think, since the 1930s. And it's just not equitable, fair, or democratic at all.
Yeah.
Agreed.
I can't
testified to that.
vote for anybody on the board there. So
yeah, I've even testified to that fact that they are not representing their constituents. So
Mhm.
It's a fight we continue. It's a fight we continue. Do I have any other questions for Lauren?
Yeah, I was wondering, what
Trevor?
can the like Corporation Commission, or if not them, like the legislature do to try and like incentivize more solar, like more like homeowner like solar production.
Sure.
I took a class with if you know Professor Kelman. I turned in a paper for him and I actually saw your office in what is it? Wrigley
Wrigley
Hall.
Hall.
Yeah. And so I've seen some of like that they have some incentives, but also that if you're like selling energy back to APS, that you can get charged a little bit for doing that. I was wondering what the status of that and how we can improve like solar ownership.
Sure. Well, I ran on a sustainability platform for the city of Tempe in 2014, and just a month later, SRP passed and APS soon followed. They passed a rooftop solar killing plan. They decided to kill rooftop solar. So now people that put rooftop solar that engage in it are basically doing it to be a good person, maybe save a few dollars a month, but it's been devastating. And I was an early adopter, and I was encouraged to put solar on my roof, and now I'm the devil, right? So fundamentally, we need to restore rooftop solar. It is not the only solution. We need large scale solar, but we need distributed solar as well. And if I'm elected, that is one of the issues I'm going to work on very strongly with Corporation Commissioner Kennedy and Tovar to restore rooftop solar, and also bring community solar into the picture. Other states allow renters to take advantage of solar benefits, and you shouldn't have to own a home to take advantage of the benefits of solar.
Thanks, Lauren. Thank you very much. And yes, please go online and sign for both Lauren and for Sandra. And also, please give the $5 donation to Sandra. The sooner that they have their $5 donations, the faster they can start campaigning, because that is when they will get funded for the money that they need to run their campaigns from the state. So
yeah, and we've learned from past mistakes. We're going to be together. So it's going to be Kuby and Kennedy for CorpCom signs and literature and everything together. We're going to really pool our funds in a way that makes a lot of sense. And whenever you hear Kuby, you're going to hear Kennedy. When you hear Kennedy, you're going to hear Kuby. And we are united in this fight, and we're going to be surrogates for each other. We're also working very closely with Chris Mays, incidentally. But I believe that, as climate candidates, the time is now, and we have the voters on our side. We just need to reach out and explain to them the importance of the commission and how it really directly impacts your life.
Yeah, and this is a state office, so if you know people, not necessarily here in our area, but across the state, they can do the same by signing and giving fives. And they also can give a $5 if they are of any party. Okay,
right.
They don't have to be a Democrat. Okay, So make your connections, send an email, and let's get these gals into the fold right away, quickly. Okay, thanks, Lauren.
Thank you. Thanks. It's my daughter's birthday, and I made homemade pasta and focaccia, and I got to go because my family keeps wondering where I am. So I'm sorry to leave the meeting early, but thank you for all your hard work.
Thank you, Lauren. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, our next speakers are a dynamic duo of Jennifer Pawlik, our representative from LD 17. Soon, we hope to be our representative from LD 13, and AJ Kurdoglu, who is running or was running for the Senate seat the Senate seat in LD 17, and they're going to bring us up to date on how that's playing out to their campaign. And of course, Jennifer will give us an update on what's going on as the legislative session starts on January 10th, next Monday. So I don't know how you want to divide up your time, but I will let you two, as you normally do, figure it out.
Thank you. Thank you, Carol. I'll go first. Hello, amazing LD 17 Democrats, dear friends. It's always great to be here with you all tonight. My name is Dianne Kurdoglu. You can call me AJ, and I'm a proud member of LD 17 Democrats, which I consider my family. Many years ago, actually, you welcomed me here. You all embraced me, gave me a chance to serve you as a volunteer, a PC, as your state committee person, your treasurer, your outreach committee leader. and also your state Senate candidate. Together we work hard, and I'm proud of what we accomplish, and I'm really humbled, I should say, by the trust and the support that you gave me. But most importantly, we built many, many friendships here. Actually, earlier I was thinking maybe I should name each and every one of you one by one, but we have so many great speakers tonight. So I just want to say that I love you all and I appreciate every single one of you. As we all know, IRC finalized their work, and we have new legislative maps for our state. I will be with some of you here, part of the new District 12, which covers Chandler, Tempe, and Ahwatukee. Most of our group here will be in the District 13, covering Chandler and Gilbert. Borders of districts, election maps, they change in a fair or not fair way. That's a different topic for another time. But the fight for an Arizona that provides a quality, great quality of lifestyle to every single Arizonan, and a state government that supports all Arizona, that fight continues. We really have work to do, and maybe even more after this new maps. And I will continue this work. I will continue this work as a candidate for LD 12 State House. I'm so honored to have your support, to have had your support and this community over the years. I hope to continue with working with you as my campaign start for the great state of Arizona. I want to say thank you so much. And since I'm running for a new office, I have to collect signatures, and now we have a fast approaching deadline. I need your help. Together, I'm certain we can gather enough signatures from our old LD 17 precincts. I will drop a link. Please sign up if you want to volunteer to get AJ on the ballot. And I will get back to you with the dates and hours that we will canvass. Again, my name is AJ, and I'm running for LD 12 House. I can't thank you enough. I love you all, and I appreciate you. Now, our great representative and my dear friend, teammate, Jennifer Pawlik.
Thanks, AJ. These times of transition really are hard. Know that even though you've been cut into another district, you're still our neighbor. And I'm confident that you are going to do really well in District 12. I look forward to serving with you in the House and mentoring you when you're elected. So know that we're still all working together. So hello, everybody. As AJ said, I'm your state representative, Jennifer Pawlik. And I wanted to start by talking about the election, and then I'll go into the legislative update. So as AJ told you, most of us now are District 13. We have 7 of our precincts that have been cut from the main body. So they are Comstock, Mission, Alamo, Verano, Gila, and Jasper. All of you have been moved to the west to what will be LD 12, and you are AJ's people. He's counting on you. And then down in the south part of our district, the most eastern part of Appleby, Chandler Heights, and the entire precinct of Sun Grove has moved to the east, which is going to be District 14. We've picked up 3.5 precincts. We have Foley from just the old District 18, that's over at Ray and Price Road. And then we have 2.5 new districts over in Gilbert. We have Pinion, Cullenberg, and Sierra Madre. What's interesting about those three is it's right in that downtown Gilbert area. So if you can imagine all the restaurants on the west side of the road and the water tower, that's all part of the new district. So we have to hit the ground ready to go. The good news is that the signatures we've already collected count, and we just need to continue collecting signatures. We need to make contact to our new constituents in these new precincts, and then we will get down south, I promise you, because I know those of you who live in the south part are saying, what about me? I want to walk in my own neighborhood. So when I'm done talking, I will put links in the chat so you can join us for canvassing. We are increasing the canvasses to 3-hour shifts instead of 2 hours because it is now election year and we've got a lot of people to contact. I will put also a link for fundraising in the chat. As I said at a recent meeting, when I first joined the LD, we used to pass around a green envelope and you were asked to put money in the green envelope. And I always thought, oh, the green envelope. I bet everybody's putting $100 in the green envelope, but I didn't have $100, so I never put anything in the green envelope. But you know what? Even $5 is great. It helps. So if you can contribute to the campaign, that would be super. We also have a couple of community events coming up in January. On the 15th in downtown Chandler, we have the Multicultural Festival. I hope you'll be there. We did not get a table, but we're still going to be there with our clipboards talking to people, and we hope that you'll show up too. On the 17th, which is a Monday, we will be doing the Martin Luther King Day Junior Parade in downtown Mesa. We've been doing that parade since 2016, so I'm really excited that we'll be able to do that again. If you'd like to join us for that, I'll put my email in the chat. Just let me know. You don't have to buy anything. All you have to do is show up and walk with us in the parade, and it's a really fun one. So as far as the legislature goes, our new session begins on Monday. And what will happen that day is we are allowed to have 2 guests, the freshmen, and we have 22 freshmen will be able to have their guests with them on the floor. They'll introduce their guests, and then following that, we will hear the state of the state from Governor Ducey. That will be broadcast on all of our local news stations, so you can tune into to see what his plan is for this next session. As we go forward, I will be continuing as the ranking member of House Education, and I'm honored to do that. And as you'll remember, a couple months ago, I told you that I asked to be removed from the Government and Elections Committee because it was so toxic. I was granted that request, and I will be joining the Judiciary Committee, and I'm really happy to be back on that crew. When you look at the members of the House, remember we are 60 members, 2 from each of 30 districts. We have had 9 of our colleagues resign since July. And the way they're replaced is the County Board of Supervisors. Okay, 1 minute, I see it. The County Board of Supervisors will appoint a person of the same party. So we have 6 new Democrats and 3 new Republicans. A huge issue that I don't know if Gary said because I got here late is what we call the aggregate expenditure limit. And I will be writing about that on my Facebook page, and I'll send an email out so you know. But the thing is, if we don't fix it by March 1st, our schools are going to have to cut $1.2 billion from their budget this year. So it is an emergency and it's going to be a fight. So I will tell you more about that as we go on. Please, please, please be involved. Remember, even if you like the way I'm voting, I need you to email me because I keep track of all my emails, and I don't want to just see emails from the people who disagree with me. So I will put my work email in the chat. Please stay in touch, everybody. I'm so excited for this next session. We're going to try our best to block the bad things and try to pass some good ones. Thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Our next speaker is going to be a current city council member for Chandler, and that is Matt Orlando. And Matt is here to talk about his campaign for re-election and give us any updates if he's got anything from Chandler.
No, my name is Matt Orlando, for those of you who don't know me. Back in 1978, a large corporation called the United States Air Force moved Pat and I, which is currently my 44th year, we'll be married, to Arizona. We moved to Chandler in '83, where we raised 3 children, and we have 2 grandchildren. I spent 33 years in high-tech industry, and I retired from the Air National Guard as an Air Force colonel. That's my background as far as those of you who don't know who I am or what my experience level is. Why I'm running again? Well, there's just 4 key areas. First of all, first responders, safe neighborhoods, smart growth, transportation needs, and improve our quality of life. I've had these 4 tenets since the first time I joined the council in 1990, and they've proven to be the right tenets, right community. Give you a quick, you've heard me talk about our first responder, particularly our police officers. When I left the council in 2010, we had the highest percentage of police officers to citizen ratio in the state and in our city's history. When I came back in 2018, we didn't hire 1 new police officer, yet we grew by 40,000 people. Well, this year, as someone might remember last year, I pushed hard, and we had to embarrass some council members, but we put it on the dais and we hired 25 new police officers, plus domestic support, domestic violence, welfare, welfare interference individuals as well. And we'll continue doing that because that's important to get the next phase of it, because there's a lot of crime out there, cyber crime. We still have a high area of gangs, domestic violence, and other social issues. So we need to continue hiring and beefing up our public safety. But more importantly, I'm running because of a couple of things. One, experience. In 2023, when the new council takes over, there'll be 7 of us, as you know, the mayor plus 6 council members. The 5 council members plus me, the 5 council members only have 10 years of experience between the 5 other council members. I'll have 21. Now, it's great to have good ideas, but it's also to have experience. Experience means leadership. Experience means mentorship. Experience means education. And experience means an ability to guide the new council members. If the mayor, who is also being challenged, quite frankly, doesn't get reelected, again, we'll have 10 years of experience on our council. But other things are more important to me today as we look at our government and the way it's happening in the local and state level, and that's trust. We have to trust our local officials. We have to trust all of our officials. And I bring that. I bring almost 21 years of trust to this community. And I want to continue making that, because we have to stop making excuses and do the work of the people. And finally, we need to focus again on promoting the general welfare of our community and not promoting the general welfare of our politicians. I've seen that more and more in today's environment, and it's very, very discouraging. Potholes aren't Democrat, potholes aren't Republican. They need to be fixed. And that's my philosophy on life. Some of the issues we're facing today are becoming very highly polarized. And that's not the way a city council should work. We need to fix things. Everything in your life today, think about everything you touched, drove, the city council has affected. We affect you more in your daily life than any other level of government. That's why you need the experience of someone who's been there. When we were the fastest growing community in 1990, for 3 years in a row in the nation, I was there when we had the biggest recession. And now I was there when we had COVID.
1 minute left, Matt.
Thanks, Monroe. And I was there for you, and I'll continue being there. So what I'm asking you to do is help me get reelected, help me continue the fight for those tenets I've talked about earlier, and help me continue to make Chandler a progressive, growing community that we know Chandler should be and continue to be. I put earlier in my chat, www.mattorlando.com, very simple. Please help me. We'll have sign up petitions by the end of January. I've already have over 800 something signatures yet, and I'm looking for another 700 more. Also, money's always important in a campaign as well. So I appreciate any donation and time you give me. With that, again, you folks know me very well. I can answer any questions.
Thanks, Matt. Does anybody have a question or two for Matt while he's on?
Yep.
And just speak up because I can't always see everybody if they're raising their hand or not.
Oh.
I guess I covered it, Carol.
I guess you did. So don't worry. We know how to get a hold of you. We'll track you down.
I know.
I have a question.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Monroe.
That site that Matt listed, can you make donations at that on that site?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
You bet. Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it.
Carol, can I ask a little bit of executive privilege here, or a little more privilege? I do want to share real quick the non-discriminate ordinance. I've talked about that a few times. I know Harris talked about that. We've put together, as you know, the latest thing is we hired a consultant. That consultant has met with all the council members plus key leaders of the city. We're putting together a committee of 25 citizens that'll be throughout our community and looking forward ways of getting us through this time of the NDO ordinance. So I look forward to any inputs that we can go as we start moving forward on that. So
great. Yeah, this is very important. You know, Chandler is one of the few cities that hasn't adopted this, and we're doing the look-see to see what they want to do, and it's important that we make sure we have input to that. If that's what they want to hear is from our people, then let's speak up and make sure that we get something that can go on the books and show Chandler to be a progressive city.
Thank you.
You're
welcome. Are they still taking applications for that group?
No, unfortunately, because they stopped that about a week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago. I know we did a lot of social media on that, and but yes.
I don't remember if I applied or not.
I'm sorry. I wish I had known.
No worries.
Thank you, Christy.
Okay. But speak up now, no matter what. So, okay, we're moving on. Our next speaker is Randy Miller. Randy won his seat on the SRP board back in 2018. He will be up for re-election. And so I would like you to welcome Randy Miller. He has done great work there, and this is the type of thing that, again, the Corporation Commission doesn't have much purview over. It's a separate entity, but Randy's there fighting the good fight for all of us every day. And if you're an SRP customer, you want to make sure you understand the difference and what we can do to help him, because not everybody's a voter, even though you're an SRP customer. Randy?
Thanks, Carol. I really appreciate it. Can everybody hear me okay? Great. So thank you all for being here tonight. I really appreciate your time. I know that it's right after the holidays and everything, and we were finally like, oh, we can take a little break, but no, we can't. We gotta keep trekking along. So the SRP board is a 14-member board, and there are currently 4 renewable energy advocates on the board. The 4 of us are there now, but we obviously can't make a lot of change when we only have 4 people on the board and there's a 14-member board. So the election's coming up here in April, so it's kind of an off-cycle election. They don't do it on the normal times. They run their own election. It's not run by the city or the state. They run their own election through their corporate secretary's office. And in order to vote in our election, you actually pretty much need to request a ballot from SRP, and I'm going to put the link into the chat window right after this. But that is now electronic, so you can do that now until April, or right before the election. I think it's like March 25th is the last day that you can do it. But I would request everybody to go request your ballot. Again, even if you know that you're not able to vote, I would request that you request the ballot again. because I use those numbers every year to show them that, hey, 40% of your customers aren't able to vote. Do you think maybe we should change the rules, right? And we have tried to bring up voting rights during the actual board meetings. Carol has come and actually testified several times for us. And basically they just don't care is the way I would put it. They did create a new organization called the Customer Utility Panel to represent the people that could not vote. But when the last time I asked the head of the customer utility panel if they had heard any public comment from any of the public, the answer was no. And that's been in place for over a year and a half. So clearly they're not really interested in listening to what the public says. This was just a move for them to say, hey, look, we did something to try to appease the people that aren't able to vote in the election, which is crazy. So anyway, well, what we really need, I'm actually going to run for what's called an acreage-based voting position. So in my district that I'm running for, if you have 0.01 acres, you get 0.01 votes. If you own 100 acres, you get 100 votes. So this is how the rules are for the SRP election, and Lauren Kuby was correct when she said we have not updated our voting rights or districts or anything since 1937 was the last time that it was looked at. The Valley's changed quite a bit since 1937. So there's just a lot of people that aren't able to vote in our election. And just the fact that you have to own property, let's just start there, right? That's kind of archaic in my opinion. And we need to make it so that if you pay a bill, you have some sort of say in the SRP board. That's just period, end of story, right? There's so many people that rent in the Valley. All of these, all the new construction is mostly, apartments and condos that wouldn't be able to vote. So I just think we really need to take a look at that and fix it. I will say that we did make some progress over the last 4 years. We do have a 2035 sustainability plan. So we're actually
1 minute, Randy.
Thank you. We're using the word sustainability finally. It's not as aggressive as I had hoped, but at least it's a move in the right direction. We do have the largest electric vehicle fleet in the state of Arizona now at SRP. Their new building, or their new parking garage out behind their building, has the whole entire first floor has charging stations at every parking spot. So, we're making progress a little bit at a time, but we really need to make a big change. There are 2 people that are running for the president and vice president as well, Keith Woods and Chris Dobson. Both of them are currently on the board and have been on the board for a long time. We are supporting them to try to make some changes so that we can, get more voting rights and things brought up to the board, because right now currently a lot of our agenda items don't even make it to an agenda. So we have several people running. We have myself, Krista O'Brien is running for Corey Hockey's old seat, and then Kathy Moore Alameda, who ran for Senate a couple cycles ago, is running for my at-large seat that I'm going to be giving up to try to run for the district seat. So if anybody wants to volunteer, I'll put all my information in the chat window. And if you have any questions, I'd be more than happy to take them.
Great. Thank you.
Thanks, Randy. Anybody have a question for Randy? Just go ahead and speak up. Oh, there's a question. Jennifer is asking, so if we don't live on an acre lot, we can't vote for you?
That is not true. A lot of people still have that thought, because that's how it used to be many years ago. They did change it. So we have fractional voting now. So as long as you own 0.01 acres or more, you are able to vote.
But isn't that only if it's in the map of SRP territory going back to 1937?
Yeah, exactly. And the maps will be in the link that I sent to you right now so that you can see if you're eligible or not.
So.
And if you ever have any questions, you can always send me your address and I can look it up for you and let you know for sure. The one vote per household is actually not true either. Well, sort of. So what they do is if there's multiple people on the deed, they actually split the acreage by both people. If only one person votes, then that they get the full acreage for that house. And then for the at-large candidates, Krista and Kathy, each person gets a vote, one person, one vote. So that you definitely should, if there's multiple people in the household, both register, please.
Okay. And Cindy put in a comment about don't assume that your electricity bill is attached to your vote. She is in APS territory, but she still gets to vote for SRP.
Wow.
Which is a really messed up thing, but it's true.
So this is why we need Randy and others on this board.
Exactly.
All right. Thanks, Randy. Appreciate it very much. And I'm sure we'll have you back before the end of the election. But if you have questions, please reach out to Randy. And, you know, again, as an SRP customer, I mean, I give them credit. They are a good organization compared to APS. But there's still improvement even a good corporation could do. And I think that's what we need to push.
And one thing I would just like to point out is yesterday at the board meeting, they voted to basically give $5 million to a venture capital company for the first time ever. And I was the only one that voted against it because they couldn't tell me what their return on investment was, how long they expected, and they had no data at all about it. And $5 million, and they said, well, you know, it's only $5 million. And I said, okay, I'll remind you of that during your next pricing increase that you ask for.
Thank you for fighting the good fight.
You guys all have a great night. I really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you. And last, we're going to get a couple of minutes from Cindy Hans, who has been our main person, go-to person for what used to be dark money, now the Voters' Right to Know Act. So Cindy's going to talk about that because, again, we're not done with that effort. We need signatures. We need to get it on the ballot. And so Cindy will talk about that. So Cindy, you've got 3 minutes.
We really want to be done with it. We really need everybody's help to get signatures. I have petitions. I will deliver them to your door contactless. However you want to do this, I'm going to put in the chat my contact. It's real easy. It's Cindy, CINDY at stopdarkmoney.com. My phone number's there. Call me, Kathy Wagner. I'm meeting her for the 3rd or 4th time to notarize her petitions. She can't be the only one from us doing this stuff. I know Carol did just an extraordinary job working with all the referendums, and that was a big push in the fall because of that deadline. But now we need 100, what did I figure out today? 175,000 to give us a very comfortable cushion to get this on the ballot. The metric has always been that if we can get it on the ballot, it'll pass. Tempe passed it. We really need your help. So please call me, text me, send me an email. Anything I can do to help you get these signatures, I am happy to do. That's it.
Wow.
Okay, Cindy, thank you. And yeah, we need to continue that. The referendums were a good way to get started, but it isn't over yet, folks. So please put some thought to it. If there's I know Chandler Public Library, any public library, any park, dog parks, anything that you can think of where we, could set up a table, a couple of people can, be collecting signatures, whatever we can do to help push this along. We really got to get money out of politics.
The MLK, I'm going to be downtown at Margaret Hans Park on MLK Day. But anything like that, any of the festivals, anywhere, and your family, your neighbors, if you can only get 5 signatures, we will take them.
Yep.
They have to be notarized. I'm a notary. There's no charge. I will notarize them. I was a fixture at the meetings when we used to do this in person. I'm still a fixture on this issue. And I would like to move on to something else.
All right, that's the end of our speakers. So Eric, it's back to you, or Steve, whoever's going to take over the meeting now.
Yeah, I'll introduce Steve, and I just want to personally say I'm very proud of people who run for office. I know it's very hard, and AJ, I know I kind of knew this decision was probably coming for you, buddy. So I'm very proud of you, and good luck. You're going to do great, and we're all behind you. So don't be a stranger. I know you won't, but don't be a stranger. So thank you. I will say that we also have the February 1st is our next meeting. It's the first day of February, is a Tuesday. So as Steve said, business as usual for now until we reorg, okay? So we will have a LD 17 February 1st meeting, and that'll be at 7 p.m., 6:30 social hour. So